I don't know what stardom is because I haven't dealt with it. There was a lot of respect. There was this thing of she's one of the finest actors, but that didn't translate into work.
Why is that?
Because ek to OTT was a complete game changer. It was like it resurrected my non-existent career. Pankaj Tripathi or Jaideep Ahlawat or Nawaz or Rasika finally getting what you deserve. Der Aaye Durust Aaye. It took very long for people to register and realize that.
Airport looks.
My children are embarrassed. How can you dress up like this? I'm completely awed by people who can wear heels and
Reach the airport.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, hats off. For me, it's very difficult to constantly pretend. Talking about the entourage, there was a star. She requested someone, and I looked at it and I said, that is so not cool.
The big bad industry, right, of Bollywood. The opportunities that women get, pay parity that's there.
It's not fair. I mean, if that was the question. When I did Delhi Crime, it's so amazing that it was a woman.
Yeah.
And she was fighting for it. I still get goosebumps when I say this and when I think of it. The responsibility put on actors and films to change the world is very heavy.
Really?
And it's unrealistic. If you're not meant for marriage, don't get married. It's not an easy path.
Why do you say it's not an easy path?
It's not. A big part of marriage is about adjustment. It's about respect, kindness, and all of this can go right out of the window when...
I just went through an egg freezing process.
Okay. I hope you've sat alone on your podcast and spoken about it.
No, it's the first time actually.
When I had my children, I was very sure I wanted to have my children and I wanted to stay at home and take care of them. Rather than teaching women, I think we need to let the men realize this.
Yeah.
That it's not... Let's assume there is a same-sex marriage and they have a child. There might still be one person who is taking care of what is required at home and one person who's going out there to work. So how do you make this about gender?
That's a very interesting question. Welcome to Humans of Bombay, Shefali. I am a huge fan.
Thank you, Karishma.
As I
Thank
was telling
you.
you offline, like I binge watch most of your stuff,
Thank
if
you.
not all of it. And it's been a while since I wanted to interview you and chat with you because you have such an interesting persona off the screen as well.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming and giving
Thank
me
you.
the time.
Absolutely my pleasure.
Thank you. So I'm going to start with your recent Instagram post, which I saw and like most other women in the country resonated with about your solo trip, about the constructs of guilt, about motherhood, about womanhood. And I want to begin with that. And what made you pen it? And pen it so beautifully, by the way. It just struck such a deep nerve and a chord.
So I do write. I enjoy writing. And I think that's a way of expelling your creativity as well as what you feel. So I just wrote it just because that's exactly how I felt and I thought at that point of time. And I do share stuff like that with, I share it sometimes on Instagram or on my blog or whatever. And I share it. I did not expect it to go crazy the way it did.
Yeah.
I did not. What felt good was, not good actually, in a strange way, there are a lot of women feel exactly that way.
Yeah.
And the downside is it's sad that they still are going through it. But the upside is that they are ready to take this plunge. And that, I'm one of a lot of, like, what I feel is not restricted to only me.
Yeah.
I'm not being selfish about this emotion, if I can explain it. There are a lot of women feel it. So there is a validation of some kind for that emotion. And, there was, in fact, some of the most lovely responses I got, there was one or two people who messaged and said, we booked our tickets. It was so sweet.
Yeah.
It was so sweet.
Yeah.
But I'm very glad I went. Very glad I went. And I'm glad I penned it as well.
Yeah, I think it was just so relatable because it came from the heart, and it was amazing to watch you take a solo trip, right? Which is considered a very Gen Z or like a young person thing to do, which is like, oh, I'm going for a solo trip. It's like the cool thing to do. So many people felt inspired after seeing a post of yours and felt that, okay, this is my call to book those tickets and do this for myself. So what do you think of the Indian woman today, and how is she kind of transforming or being able to adapt to the world as we know it today?
Well, I think she's obviously coming of age. She is still struggling with the kind of not just patriarchy or rules or regulations that were built for women, but also the thought process that we are brought up with. You know, that kind of makes it's a pretty interfering voice in your head when you're trying to take a decision of any kind. And let's talk about, like, okay, let me put it this way. I am not here to prove that women are stronger than men. Okay? I don't think we are one up.
Okay.
We're equal. There's one thing that I kept telling my children, because you try to give a lot of advice to your kids and stuff, and then you figure that they're not listening, actually. They don't hear you. So I just made it simpler. I said, you treat others the way you expect to be treated yourself. It's just as simple as that. It doesn't have to get complicated beyond this. So if a man can choose to do something, a woman can too. And there are a lot of wonderful men who do not put these restrictions on women. So it's like this particular post. Let's take it as far as this one particular travel thing was concerned. Yes, it became about a woman taking a solo trip, but a lot of men do that as well.
Yeah.
They put everything around them above themselves, which is lovely, which is very gracious, which is being idealistic, which kind of proves how much you love your family and you care for them and you put them above everything else, which I would too. But I don't think that it has to be a and or option. It can be done like, ye bhi kar sakte hain aur ye bhi kar sakte hain.
I can be both.
Yeah, I can be both. So I feel that is the part. And yes, there's a lot of noise being made around equality, but I don't want to add to the noise, but at the same time, I wish we didn't have to even ask for it.
Yeah.
I sit in a very privileged position. Not everyone does.
Yeah.
Like you said, there are certain things that I still am battling in my own head. And that comes from the way I've been brought up. But I think all of that is kind of taking off. And we can't do it alone.
Yeah.
Nothing we do can be done alone. Whether it's a woman becoming strong or a man becoming strong, it's always a cumulative coming together of multiple people to create something, to become something. So it's like, instead of having this as a fight, it would be wonderful if people could just reach out to each other and say, I need help.
Yeah.
It's a simpler way of doing it. Also psychologically, you kind of put the other person in a higher pedestal.
Yeah.
So it's automatically you feel, acha, haan, ye jhagda nahi hai. I can kind of, it becomes like my agenda too to make it better.
Yeah, it's like it's not a you versus me problem.
Exactly.
It's a us versus the problem.
Yes,
That kind of
absolutely.
changed the perspective.
And that is
of
what
things.
marriage is about also, in a very big way.
Yeah. So how did your family kind of react to the post, right? Because of course, like I read it and I was like, oh my God, So imagine you're part of their family. You're like, you've written it from the heart. How was their reaction?
So my sons did say that, Mom, you threw us under the bus.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I didn't throw y'all under the bus. It wasn't about honestly, it was not about what they didn't do.
Yeah.
It could have been any other reason they couldn't come. And they must be having valid reasons or whatever. So it was not about that. It was not about underlining the problem. It was about saying, this is the solution I found.
Yeah. And it
This is
worked
what
for you.
And it worked for me.
Yeah.
It might not work for somebody else. So it had nothing to do. In fact, in a certain way, I'm almost glad they didn't come when I look back in retrospective, because I probably wouldn't have done this ever.
Yeah. Was this your first solo trip?
Yeah.
Ever?
A holiday.
Yeah, like by
so like
yourself.
for travel or for when I'd joined this art academy. So obviously I traveled alone then.
Yeah.
But for a chutti, yeah.
Where you're by yourself and there's no like agenda, there's no
Yeah.
like course or
Yeah,
something. That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so refreshing to even hear
Yeah,
about
and
it.
it's addictive.
Yeah, because
It's
you kind
addictive.
of like, I've done it. And
Yeah.
you realize a lot of things that you would otherwise not realize. And also it gives you that perspective that I can be by myself. Like I
can be.
Yeah.
So you know, what happens with me, one is like I said, I come from a privileged place.
Yeah.
So I do have space.
Yeah.
I'm not cluttered with housework or responsibilities. I choose to take certain things on me, which is, of course, and I'm saying about, let's say, physical responsibilities.
Yeah.
Emotional responsibilities to hoti hain, and we've
Correct.
gladly taken it on when you get married, or you're, you know, when you have children, or even when you're a friend, you take responsibility of the other's well-being, right? But physically, I don't have to go and take care of, you know, is this been taken care of? Has this been done, etc., etc.
Logistics are being handled.
Yeah. But it just kind of gave me space to realize that. So I have this inherent. I think it's my strength as well as my weakness, is that I can't sit still. I have to constantly do something. Like my brain doesn't stop even when I'm sleeping. It's exhausting. Over there, it kind of calmed down, and there were patches of nothingness, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, where you're not doing anything.
But did it make you feel uncomfortable in the beginning or at any point?
Honestly, no, and I'll tell you why. Because you know, I went to Rishikesh,
Yeah.
and the place I was staying, it was on the banks of the Ganga. Now you have a very beautific image of the Ganga, and it's magnificent.
Yeah.
She's just magnificent, but she doesn't ripple, she doesn't whisper, she roars.
Yeah.
So when that sound is in your background, your brain can't think of anything else. So it didn't give me a chance, an opportunity to be uncomfortable. Or, you know, when you're sitting somewhere outside and you're just soaking it in, it's really a sense of calm and peace and almost meditative place that you go to. Yeah, but if I'm sitting alone in a room, then I want to be like, should I write? Should I read?
Yeah.
You know, should I scroll on the phone or what? That does happen.
Yeah. So much of, you know, what you carry, right? Like even on screen, I don't know why and I could be completely wrong about this, but it feels like you carry elements of yourself in the very many characters that you've played. And now the characters that you play are extremely immersive and they consume you, right? Like even with Delhi Crime, you've gone on record to say that it consumed you. It was difficult.
Yeah.
Of course it was. It's difficult for most people to hear about that, right? Like for me, like I'm just like, it's too sensitive, like it tugs at your heart and you don't want to kind of go there. How has your perception of these issues that we deal with as a country evolved with these characters that you played? We'll start with Delhi Crime and then we'll go to some of the other films that you've played.
I don't understand your question.
So how is your definition of, like, say, womanhood or where we are in society today influenced you as a person, and what is the perception in general?
You know, first one, and this is a thing that comes up very often, the responsibility put on actors and films to change the world is very heavy.
Really?
And it's unrealistic.
Okay.
It's really unreal. It's not fair. Because when you see, let's say, a Mother India, and you see the strength of a woman, it's not like the next day everyone started worshipping women.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
So when a bad thing happens, let's say, for example, a rape, just by watching something, unfortunately, it's not going to affect people enough to stop doing it, who are born or who are built with that psychology.
Yeah.
So putting that responsibility and onus on an actor or on a project is really not fair. Yes, we have the platform and the voice to say certain things which might go unheard otherwise. So that is definitely there.
Or put a perspective out there.
When I did Delhi Crime, it was, you know, one to the show is not about the particular event or incident. Yeah, incident. It's about what followed it, the next 5 days. And it was very interesting. I didn't know this part of the story.
Okay.
In fact, as an outsider, when the thing happened, when that case happened, when that extremely traumatic, brutal incident happened, like a lot of people, I asked the same question: why is nobody doing anything about this?
Yeah.
When I read DC, I realized there was somebody doing something about it. And it's so amazing that it was a woman.
Yeah.
And she was fighting for it. I still get goosebumps when I say this and when I think of it. And there's so much, it was like it was a certain kind of payback. You know, there was one life lost, but there was another woman who was fighting for it, and she managed to get it through.
Yeah.
I mean, the life lost can never be gotten back. So I thought there was amazing amount of strength. Also, what happened is with DC, the first, and not just DC, for a lot of stuff that I've done, the image is she's a very strong woman. I am a strong woman. But I think my strength also comes from a place of extreme vulnerability.
Yeah.
I think there's great beauty in vulnerability. So I don't just want to be strong, because if I knew I had all the solutions, then what would be the fun of it?
Yeah.
And if I wasn't vulnerable, I wouldn't know what things need solutions. You know, so that is one thing. As far as the characters go, there is so much you take away and there is so much you leave back. I cannot quantify it. I don't know how to express it. I don't know if I had to write down what I took away from any of the shows I did. I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it changed me in a certain way.
Yeah.
So, I wish I could be more precise.
No, it makes it makes sense. Like
yeah.
it makes a lot of sense, because also, you know, to the point that you said that there's that expectation, right? Like, so there have been films also where say there are films where there's violence, right? And it's done in a way where the actor's cool, or where the actor, it's kind of like not glorified, but it's completely normalized. People are also upset with that, because they think that it could influence a part of society to be that way.
True.
But if influence was so easy, then it could also happen the other way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that the debate around the creative liberty that is in films is yet to reach its conclusion, and
I don't think it'll ever reach its conclusion.
Yeah.
Because also morals keep changing as you keep growing, as you keep evolving.
Yeah.
So what was incorrect today may not be incorrect tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like some years ago, let's say, a divorce was incorrect.
Yeah.
So when you see a film like Arth,
Yeah.
so some time ago that was so the subject that they were dealing with was talking about a morality which was incorrect,
Which is divorce.
which was divorce.
Correct.
Today, it might not be looked into it that way, because today our perception of divorce has changed.
Yeah.
So it keeps changing.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, I mean, I don't think taking a certain kind of creative liberty is that conversation or discussion is ever going to end, because what may offend you may not offend me at all.
Yeah. It's so subjective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what? So the person who's sitting on the censor board is going to keep changing. Their thought process is going to keep changing. So everyone's going to have a different perspective of it. So what one may give an adult certificate, the other one may not.
Correct.
At the same time, coming back to the same story the same conversation that I said right in the beginning, is that you don't want to offend people. But unfortunately, you'll end up offending people with the smallest of things. So it's very difficult to take this, on yourself.
But the truth is something seemingly absolutely harmless in your mind,
Yeah.
right? Like there's nothing
Yeah,
that could
yeah.
potentially
Yeah.
go wrong with this
True.
will or can offend a certain group of people.
Absolutely.
It is just what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when you deal with these kind of themes, right? Like let's talk about Dil Dhadakne Do. And I think like your portrayal was so fantastic in that particular situation, which also women resonated with, because a lot of women saw themselves there,
Yeah,
right?
true.
So let's talk about that narrative that was there of infidelity and how it was dealt with, and what are your thoughts as a add-on on the institution of marriage? We'll take that
So
conversation.
Dil Dhadakne Do was not just about infidelity. She was not just stress eating because her husband was cheating on her.
yeah.
There were a lot of things around her
Yeah.
that kind of had pushed her to that place. She was unhappy. And there were a lot of things around her that just made her unhappy. Again, when you say it was just about infidelity, you're giving too much power to that relationship or that man.
Correct.
So it's not fair to say that her entire life got screwed because of this one human being.
Yeah.
Her basic, I think what she lacked was love, respect, a certain kind of companionship, respect being a very big part of it, because that, even if he was not having affairs, he was not the most kind person to be with.
Like he wasn't pleasant.
He wasn't pleasant at all.
Yeah.
He was not kind. He was extremely rude, and he was downright putting her under the bus all the time. So I think a lot of those kind of contribute to who she was and what she did. As far as infidelity is concerned, well, in the ideal world, it should not be. But to say it does not happen is actually putting a blinder on your eyes.
Correct.
To be able to judge whether it's right or wrong, a divorce is a right or a wrong thing. I personally feel if a couple doesn't get along, they'd rather not be together than be together, have kids, make everyone's lives miserable. Having said that, I am not standing in anybody's shoes to be able to know exactly what happened.
And each relationship is so unique. There's
Exactly.
no-
And I don't know. How can I sit here and give a blanket statement about something which I don't know?
Yeah.
I don't, you might see a couple and you might think, oh, he was very good and she was the one who walked out, or the other way around. But you don't know what happened inside that bedroom.
Yeah.
So to stand here and to be able to judge, I don't want to give myself that position. I'm incapable. Let's say I'm incapable of doing it only.
How do you think it's evolved, right? So you said that you have Gen Z kids and you obviously are conversing with them on issues that are related to them, and then on the other hand you've lived these experiences. So how do you think the definition of, say, love or commitment or relationships has evolved?
Oh, wow. Again, I feel it has to do from person to person. Because the way my one son thinks is not the way the other son thinks.
Yeah.
They both, to believe that, I don't know, maybe a big, again, I don't know the stats, but if the belief is that a lot of kids of today's generation are not interested in commitment or think it's okay to have open relationships, well, that's not the case in my house. From what I see as example, my kids believe in the institution of marriage. They believe in very strong commitments. They want to have children. They want the entire family to grow together. They do tend to feel sometimes that if I am working and if you're at home, please take care of. And then they have this joke with me that, Mom, you're supposed to make the sandwiches. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But first of all, I genuinely think that it's from person to person. It varies from person to person. And if somebody is going into this whole thing of, I don't want to commit, and honestly, you'd rather be sure before you make that commitment. If you're not meant for marriage, don't get married.
Yeah.
It's not an easy path. So unless you really believe in it, don't do it.
Why do you say it's not an easy path?
It's not a honeymoon period all the time. You're growing. Your expectations from each other are growing. Things that were very nice when you met each other for a coffee or a date may not be very nice when you're spending 24 hours with the same person.
Yeah.
It's so all of it keeps changing. It is about adjustment. A big part of marriage is about adjustment. It's about respect. It's about kindness. And all of this can go right out of the window when it's a bad situation or when you're angry and you're getting into a fight. None of it occurs to you at that point of time. Later on, you feel, oh God, I should not have said that.
Yeah.
I should not have done it. So it's not easy. Like I say this even about kids. If you're not dead sure, if you have any iota of doubt, I don't know if I'll be able to, or I don't know if I'm ready to do this kind of a sacrifice. Don't have children.
Yeah.
Please don't have children.
Also, it's been such a common norm for women to get married at a certain age because of the looming biological clock ticking, right? Like it's always a thing.
But that biological clock ka timing has changed now, na?
Yeah.
So they don't have to get married when they're 20 anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So like I just went through an egg freezing process.
Okay.
And I did it as somebody who's not married because I mean, I may or may not want kids, but I want the insurance, right? That
Right.
I can, and it's,
Right,
it's
absolutely.
it's available, and I'm very privileged because I have the means to do it.
Yeah,
And
that is amazing.
Yeah, and I can do it. And was it the easiest process? Not really. Like it's hard, right? Like it's
Right.
like 2-3 weeks of like hormones and injections
yeah.
and all
It's
of
not
that.
easy.
It's
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
right? But at the end of it, I just feel that there's this weight kind of taken off my shoulders because I no longer have to worry that I'm going to hit 35 or 36 and there's a realistic possibility that I wouldn't be able to conceive
Right.
and do nothing at that point about it.
Right.
So,
Right.
and I was thinking back to why did I do it? And I realized that I just wanted the freedom to make
That choice.
that choice at the right time for me. I
Right.
don't want to do it basis a timeline that's prescribed because of a biological phenomenon.
I mean, I'm so glad you think like that.
Yeah, but it didn't come, like, I did feel that stress. I honestly have, like, I say this very often, like,
I hope you've sat alone on your podcast and spoken about
No,
this.
it's the
because
first time, actually.
No, you should,
Yeah.
because it's going to make so much sense to so many people.
yeah, I mean,
You know, because even today there are girls and their mothers who are saying, please इसके लिए लड़का ढूंढो. And I'm like, क्यों?
yeah,
क्यों लड़का ढूंढो?
Yeah.
मतलब उसको शादी करनी है तो लड़का ढूंढो ना, नहीं करनी है तो जबरदस्ती अभी क्या, what is 20, she's 22, she's 24, and I'm like, are you crazy?
yeah,
At 22, 24, you don't know anything.
yeah,
So how are you putting such a huge responsibility on someone? And see, I personally feel that getting married early is not a great idea.
okay.
I genuinely don't think so. But if somebody is very sure and they're madly in love and they want to get married in 20, your life,
That's totally fine. Yeah.
completely, absolutely fine. It's your choice. You know, while I was coming here, I read a very interesting thing that when people are doing something, you don't have to necessarily have a point of view on it. As far as it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
If somebody is choosing to do something in their lives, how does it become my problem?
Yeah. Or like,
You know?
or like your need to kind of make a comment on it without the context.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, this is, you know, it's interesting that we speak about this because in Raj's show, we had talked about the same thing of children and getting married at a certain age. And I said, I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But there was, I mean, touch wood, I have people who just love me and respect me for what I'm really grateful for that. But then, of course, there are people who troll you, right?
Yeah.
So there were a lot of people, how can she make this comment? Who is she to decide? Of course, I'm nobody to decide.
Yeah.
But I was asked what I feel about it. I'm not saying I'm not giving advice to people to do a certain thing. I'm just saying this is my point of view.
Also, it's a perspective.
Yeah.
So somebody who's watching it, who's thinking that, oh my God, I have this timeline, right? Can open up their mind to think that, okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe there is something else out there that I can kind of focus on, and it's okay.
Yeah,
I think
true.
the it's okay part of it is so important because, so I've been through the rung, right? Like all my friends getting married, like in the same, like say 2-3 years span, and I was building a business. But I found that increasingly as I did more work or I did things that I was proud of, the recurring question was still, when are you getting married? And it really bothered me to no extent. And I just decided last year that, you know what, like it's seeming to be connected a lot to do with kids. And things like that. So why don't I just do what's available to me and then figure it out, right? So there's always a solution and there's always a possibility.
And we are in the time where we have these options.
Yeah.
You know, earlier, some years ago, nobody would have this option.
Yeah.
But today, luckily, that option is available.
Correct.
So if you have the capacity, why not access it? Having said that, I still feel the whole thought of get married because you want to have children. One is getting married and having a child are a huge life-changing responsibility. It changes your life. No matter what you say, no matter how you want to look at it, it is a fact of life. So unless you're ready for it, I would really suggest wait and think it through.
Yeah.
Particularly about having children. I mean, you know, like, I'm talking about kids. For example, my sons want another pup.
Yeah.
I'm like, you do realize it's getting a baby home.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's full-time responsibility. So don't just get a life because it sounds very beautiful to you.
Or it's you see other people doing it. And
Exactly.
wanna
Or
kind of
there is
imitate.
a thing, there is a timeline written by somebody somewhere, I don't know, a million years ago. Okay,
Yeah.
at this age you do this, at this age you do this, at this age you do this. Luckily, we have options of, and you're a perfect example. I think it's incredible. You must talk about this. I
Yeah, no,
really
no.
wish people can, think of it like that, because you still think of, oh, in Hollywood, women freeze their eggs.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of anyone doing it here, and I'm so glad I'm having this conversation with you.
But you'll be surprised. So at my doctor's, I was chatting with him.
Yeah.
I like chatting. And I was like, so tell me about it. And he was like, up to 30 to 40% are single women who are not married, who are choosing this option. And you can actually see it there. You
Right.
can see, and it's packed. So I think
Wow.
that it just gives you that perspective that things are changing,
Yeah.
and more and more women are opening up to it, right? So
Right.
like I in fact did a dedicated episode to what the process is of IVF,
Wow.
including cost, including what you have to go through, and that it is accessible. Literally, you have doctors everywhere doing it,
Right.
and if it's an option that you can build out your finances for, you can totally
Yeah.
go down that route,
Yeah.
and it's there for you.
Yeah.
So I think that it just lifted that whole pressure, and I've told all my single friends that please just
Please
do it.
do it.
Yeah, you don't want to like have that
Yeah.
thing later.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said, right? Like so much of guilt is associated with the family, the role of the woman in the family around kids. Like, when you say that having kids is a huge responsibility, a woman is unfortunately still considered, even if both partners are working or both partners are equally involved, somehow the domain of domesticity is considered the woman's for kids, for raising them right, etc. And this is my personal question, because how did that kind of play out for you, especially given the career angle, given the fact that you are very busy, you have outdoor shoots, you were on a cruise, somewhere shooting. How did that play out?
So one is that I have worked very, like my trajectory of work has been sporadic.
Correct.
It's not been continuous, and it's because I'm very choosy about what I do.
Yeah.
So I might have, like, in fact, the year when there was Darlings and DC and Human and Jalsa and all three of us, everything happened in that one year. I suddenly realized, oh, this is the fluke year.
Oh,
I
wow.
suddenly had started hoping that, oh, this is how it's going to be. Then I realized, no, this is a one-off.
Yeah.
So it's like what I so I could be working one full year, or I could be working once in 2 years. When I had my children, I was very sure I wanted to have my children and I wanted to stay at home and take care of them.
Yeah.
That is what I wanted to do. So it was a choice that I made.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember after I had both the boys, I was going to start Gandhi, my father. And I was having a conversation with Vipul, and I was still not ready. I remember we had a look test or something, and I was at the look test and I was calling home ki the car hasn't reached to pick the kiddo up, the tiffin wasn't right. And he was like, calm down, it's fine, there are people. Also, I was very lucky because the kids had both their grandparents.
Yeah.
So that is like, again, see, everything has a pro and a con.
Yeah,
Na?
yeah.
Living in a joint family is not easy, but then living in a joint family also gives freedom. But of course, if everyone understands,
Yeah.
you need to get that freedom.
Correct.
But my kids were lucky. I was lucky. I had my mother-in-law supporting us. The first thing I did after my babies, one was Gandhi, my father, and then I did Waqt. And Waqt was Vipul set.
Yeah.
So the kids would be with us, they would hang around, be around, kind of thing. But whatever I did, I chose to do it. I chose to sit at home.
Yeah.
And I am so happy I did it. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it at all. But yes, there is a unsaid expectation somewhere that when something is not right in the house, it happens to become the woman's responsibility. I don't know how to correct it. I genuinely wish I had a solution.
Yeah.
But I think it's, you know, in this particular case, rather than teaching women, I think we need to let the men realize this.
Yeah.
That it's not one human being's responsibility.
Yeah.
It's everyone's responsibility together,
Correct.
you know. But having said that, let's assume there is a same-sex marriage and they have a child. There might still be one person who is taking care of what is required at home and one person who's going out there to work. So how do you make this about gender?
Correct. The roles just...
The point is not about gender again. The point is about when you're raising kids, when you're having a family, it is not a single human being's job. It cannot happen single-handedly.
Yeah. That's
So
a very
to-
interesting question.
So to expect it, it's not fair. It's
Yeah.
just not fair.
Yeah. It has to be a team.
Has
That's
to-
why they say it takes a village to raise a child.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you go to work, are you working alone? No.
Yeah.
When you go to shoot, you know how many people put in their hard work to make that film, right? You're creating a life.
Yeah.
How do you expect one human being to do it?
Exactly.
I can understand it can be slightly lopsided. You know, the person who's working, vice versa, the person who's at home. And that the roles could change because in today's day and age, for example, me, there are times when I'm very busy, there are times when I'm at home.
Yeah.
So if I'm at home, I may be the one to realize what is missing, what is supposed to be done, what wasn't done right. That doesn't mean and honestly, taking care of my home, I don't feel embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why?
it's my
your
home.
Yeah.
I built it.
Yeah.
And yet I've reached that point where I say, I don't care. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's dirty. Okay.
How have you reached this point?
I guess age.
Yeah.
You suddenly start reaching a point where you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't care. But so you know, when I was raising my children, I was an obsessive mother.
Yeah.
So I would like iron their nappies, langot, and all that. I was obsessed.
Yeah.
So I used to do all of that. I had a dabba of nappies, powder, then a bucket of hot water so I could put the nappies in, then a Savlon water, then washing it and bullshit. And I suddenly realized my kids are never going to remember that I ironed their nappies.
Yeah.
Or gave them a proper, you know, nutritional chart, proper, perfect nutritional chart wala menu. The only thing they'll probably remember is one fine day, my mother took me out in the rain and made us play football in Kichad.
Yeah.
So I also feel for myself, I mean, I had to kind of you've got to figure, is it
Yeah.
worth it?
Yeah.
Also, the battles you fight, you have to pick the battles you want to fight. Everything does not have to be a fight. And even if it is a fight, you don't have to be a part of it.
Or you don't have to engage or react to that extent. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is this life altering? It's not life altering.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
And when you went through this entire process, right? Also because the work aspect is so large. Also, the family aspect is very large by choice. Everything is by choice. How do you kind of navigate the dichotomy, right? Ki, I have a really good script. I really want to do it, but my heart is at home. And I feel like a lot of women, career-oriented women, navigate these complexities because the mom guilt is very real. Like we've had thousands of women on the platform talking about mom guilt, about going back to work after maternity leave.
So again, I am in a position to choose, which is my privilege.
Yeah.
People who do a 9-to-5 job, they probably don't have that option of choosing. Also, they might not have such a, like for me, it's never about going to work because I love it so much.
Yeah.
You know, it's my happy place. But for a lot of people, it might not be. So also the mom guilt plays higher over there. I don't even love doing that. I love my child. I want to stay at home. I want to just take care of the kid. But I have to go to work. Now, if you ask me how to deal with it, I don't know how to deal with it. Because like I said, I'm not standing in anybody's shoes. I don't know the comfort zone or the lack of comfort zone that is around. But it's not like you know, when I was raising my children, it's not like they remember that I was there every nanosecond with them. They're going to remember certain moments of how it was fun. Or yes, she was there. Today's day and age, our kids are also brought up in a different way. Their thinking is very different. They're all attuned to the fact that both parents work. So if you're going to work and if you love working, I think it's fine to leave your children. It's really fine. As far as you know, they're in safe hands. And nobody said that you have to have kids, so you have to leave everything. मतलब सब छोड़ छाड़ के बस घर पे बैठो. That is also not. That is not necessarily the rule book. There isn't a rule book anymore.
And it doesn't have to be extremes also.
It doesn't have to be extremes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be extremes. So it's going to be your personal choice. And well, you'll have to, let's look at it this way, okay? I want to go to work. I have to get back to work. I don't want to leave my little one. I don't want to lose that time I'm spending with the little one. But in a year's time, that child is going to go to school. What are you going to do then?
Yeah.
You're going to say that, oh, I don't want to lose that time with him.
So don't send him to school.
So don't send him to school.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
It's not an option.
Yeah. So there are certain things you have to do. You have to do it.
Yeah. So when you talk about these themes, right, and like you say that it's so evident that choice is such a crucial aspect. Even when it comes, like you said, like there are periods where you just don't have work because you don't like anything that comes across your way.
True.
How in your opinion has the industry also kind of moved, right? Since from 2 decades, say, in that time frame, how has it moved to, say, accommodate actors like you, where roles are written with you in mind? Say that I really want her to play it because I've seen her kill it in this particular show or film. How has it evolved, that journey evolved for you on the professional front?
Well, wow. OTT was
A game changer.
Complete game changer. It was like it resurrected my non-existent career, to say so. I've worked overtime. I've been a part of some incredible films. There was a lot of respect. There was this thing of she's one of the finest actors, but that didn't translate into work.
Why is that?
Because there was a certain image of a heroine, a lead. I didn't fit that. I'd crossed the age, I did not physically look like that, or whatever the reason. And unfortunately, until like a couple of years ago, I don't think people realized the importance of other characters in a film.
Yeah.
The film was about a hero, a heroine, and a villain. Then everyone else was how their hero ka friend, heroine ki maa. So it used to be like, okay, fair enough. Who are they but?
Yeah.
This is the relationship they have. Who are they?
Yeah.
That wasn't there. Now today when you see a project, it's always a full-fledged, fleshed out project where every character changes the dynamic of the whole show if they have the capacity to.
100%.
And most characters have that capacity today. And luckily, they're given that due and importance. So, for people, one is OTT. That kind of changed it because we were exposed to a world of content where there was no concept of hero, heroine dance around trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suddenly it was like, oh, wow, this is what it is.
He's an actor.
Yeah. And then that, I think, kind of gave the confidence to makers who believed in it, but unfortunately could not because there were certain requirements of box office.
Yeah.
So I think it all kind of, it became like suddenly it was like, oh, great, somebody else believes in it and a very bigger platform.
Yeah.
So it became a voice of numbers.
Yeah.
It's not like there weren't films where that weren't conventionally Hindi films, like to say so. But that unfortunately still had that art cinema tag to
like
it.
it's an indie movie.
Yeah. Which changed completely. Which is great. Having said that, there is still films that have the conventional packaging of of actors or the story or whatever, and that works, and that has been the culture of our country, and that I don't think is ever going to change. I mean, the fact that you want to go to see a big star's film in a theater with the family and friends and have samosa is a culture, and I don't think it should change. But having said that, it was life-saving for me.
Wow.
Because all this while, even though I was appreciated, because I was not playing the center, I was always considered as the packaging material. And there is only this much importance people give to a packaging material.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But here what happened is they were talking about a woman who looked like me, who was at my age, and who still, leads that show. And there are so many shows. Like some years ago, you wouldn't imagine Pankaj Tripathi or Jaideep Ahlawat or Nawaz or Rasika or, all these actors who deserved it through and through. It makes me feel so happy when I see them and I say, whoa, you're finally getting what you deserve.
Yeah.
You're finally there. Thank God. Der aaye durust aaye. It took very long for people to register and realize that.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. So a lot changed because of that. And I'm so glad.
Yeah, when we were doing the interview with Jaideep, he said that this batch, right, of theirs, which was Jaideep, then there was Vijay Varma, there was Rajkumar. He said, we kind of broke the mold,
Exactly.
right? Like, we're not conventionally good-looking actors. Like,
Right.
we all already know that. We're aware of it. But we act. And it's finally that we're seen for the acting
Absolutely.
and not the appearance.
Absolutely.
So it was refreshing to even hear that from him. But when you look at it in your context, right? Like even if you take a Dil Dhadakne Do, for example, it had Priyanka Chopra, it had Ranveer Singh, who are typically like the actor and the actresses. But I thought every person in that cast was so unique and brought so much. Like I resonated so much with your character. And I'm not even a mother. I'm not even married, but I was like, oh my God, like, like that scene where we're really eating that cake. It really got to you, But each person contributed to the narrative of the entire film.
True.
And that's obviously now how it's changing. Like I just told you, I was watching Paatal Lok and every person in that show was outstanding.
Like, the same goes for Delhi Crime. Like whenever we are there and I'm like, what a casting, what amazing casting is this?
Yeah.
It's wow.
It is.
And everyone is as important as Vartika is.
Correct.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, she might be the face of it, but Delhi Crime wouldn't be Delhi Crime if it wasn't for every single person who's a part of creating that world.
Yeah. So I'm going to go deeper into this conversation, right? Like, why is it still considered the big bad industry, right, of Bollywood? Or like, there is a skepticism underlying about the industry in general, or the opportunities that women get, the kind of pay parity that's there of like peers, right, doing the exact same thing, but the pay parity is off. What is your opinion on it, and how do you think it's evolved or is evolving?
It's not fair. I mean, if that was the question, it's definitely not fair.
Yeah.
Because I can still understand in big films at a point of time where a film used to be sold because of the hero.
Yeah.
I could understand because he was getting those seats filled, right? But that's not the case anymore. I mean, today there are so many films which are women-led and which have been huge hits.
Yeah.
Are they getting the same kind of money that the actors, the heroes are getting? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's put it like this. What if we just put the gender out of it?
Yeah.
And let's say, what if we treat it like you get what you deserve? Even if it is... Now, unfortunately, in a situation like that, who's going to decide what I deserve?
Yeah. How do you know?
How do you know, right? But if you are playing the lead, you've been cast with the thought that this person can carry this through, right? So you don't think that person deserves a little more than somebody else?
Yeah.
And having said that, I could be very well contradicting what I'm saying, because I just said every single person in Delhi Crime is equally important.
Yeah.
Right? So I just feel... Also, now, I very rarely have come across a producer who says, I will pay you more.
Yeah.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
I don't... Maybe I'm not in the position to demand, but I'm sure other actors are. And I hope they can get what they think they deserve.
But have you found yourself in a position where you have to ask for it, and then you get labeled certain things, right? Like in the sense that she's demand, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So how has that process been? And like, do you feel that guilt of even asking? Because so many women struggle with that. In corporate India, so many women struggle to ask for what they deserve in a promotion or an appraisal cycle, for the fear of being labeled as over-demanding or bossy or too much, right, essentially.
So, a lot of deals now are left to after release.
Yeah, like depending upon
Upon
many
how
sales.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
Where, if it's made certain money, then everyone becomes a part of that success in whatever ratio. I'm not saying that the actor should get the biggest chunk, because the producers have put their heart, soul, hard-earned money into it.
Yeah.
But it's only fair, and it's a very nice gesture, I feel. So I feel that it doesn't have to be या तो role मिलेगा या पैसे मिलेंगे. अरे क्यों?
It should
It should be both, दोनों
and
ना.
it should benefit everybody.
Exactly, and it should benefit everybody. And when you I don't know how other people work, but like I said, I have very sane voices around me. So when we are talking about, let's say a project has come our way and we are discussing it, because Vipul's a producer, and of course my agents are very well versed with this industry. There is also this thing of, listen, the industry is in a bad place right now. We cannot expect this kind of money.
It's subjective.
We should not, the producer won't be able to make the film.
Yeah.
So it's not like everybody sitting here is an unreasonable human being.
Like it's my way or the highway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to completely diminish the value of someone is not fair.
It's not fair.
And the thing is, for example, you get me for a project, okay? You've taken me because you think I'm a good actor. You could have taken a star, right? And you would have still been right. Probably the film or project would have done even better. Would you have negotiated so hard with that person?
I always ask this question.
And I'm saying, I'm not even trying to compare. I'm not saying this both have to charge the same amount of money. This one could be charging, water could be free and juice could be, costing you 50 rupees. Fair enough. But you're ready to pay that kind of money just because the star value a person got.
Yeah.
And again, fair enough. I'm saying वो bonus तो होता ही है. But इतना भी drastic differentiation मत रखो.
The delta can be so high.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which actually brings me to the stardom component of it, right? Like what you see now, especially with the paps and the paparazzi culture and the frenzy around the entire process. Like, you very rarely see a star like alone, right? There's like 100 people around them and that's considered stardom. How does that relate? That kind of, the I'm someone very openly in your face, how does that kind of translate to becoming a star? Is it that you are a star because you have XYZ, or like stardom can be quiet? And it can be minimal. It doesn't have to tick those particular boxes.
I don't know what stardom is because I haven't dealt with it. So that's I have no idea what it is. I don't know what it consists of. I don't know how it is made. I think it's about a perspective of what people look at you as a star. Of course, there is a big paraphernalia that is attached to you, and that's also contributed to putting you onto that pedestal, right? If you're talking about the entourage, I'll tell you this, and this is something I have thought about, okay? So I was shooting for a project and there was a star. And she requested someone to fix her shoe. And I looked at it and I said, that is so not cool. That is just so not cool. I do Delhi crime. I'm wearing a uniform with my holster and my belt. I can't bend down to tie the mic on my leg. It does not mean I am badly behaved. I just can't bend down.
Yeah, like it's a physical...
So the whole thing changes.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'll ask you a less serious question. I'll ask you about your opinion on airport looks. And have you managed to nail it? How do you go about it?
I've managed to nail it.
Yeah, okay.
I got it sorted.
Yeah.
I have a uniform when I travel. I have black track pant, black t-shirt, black hoodie. First I used to wear Keds, but now I don't wear Keds. I wear slides and any neon colored socks that I have in my cupboard. That my children are embarrassed. Like they are embarrassed. They're like, how can you dress up like this? And my thing is, I'm traveling. Do I want to look pretty or do I want to be comfortable?
Yeah.
I want to be comfortable. So I can't, I'm completely awed by people who can wear heels and
reach the airport.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah.
I mean, hats off.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Not. They're not traveling in comfort. They're traveling in style.
They're traveling in style, and how? They deserve to be covered.
Covered.
Yeah, totally. I just can't do it. I really can't do it. Acha, and the highlight is, have you noticed? So I go for a holiday, okay? Now, first 2 days, blow dry stays.
Yeah.
But once I go rafting, blow dry is not going to stay, right? And in Rishikesh, in the place I'm staying, I can get, it's a spa sanctuary, whatever.
Yeah.
Massage ho sakta hai, blow dry to nahi ho sakta. So by the time I come back, my hair is a mind of its own.
Yeah.
So it looks so bad that it's like, it's a horror show. So I never ever want to be seen by anybody when I'm traveling. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy with my Purana Nike
Yeah.
bag, comfortable Nike shoe. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, it's a blessing to be not
Completely.
packed in during the airport time at least, because
Yeah.
it's like, you just want to like go and sleep and
And you
get about.
I can't, like, for me, it's very difficult to constantly pretend. One is I don't enjoy dressing up.
Yeah,
This is me.
yeah,
Okay, I carried a shirt. I asked her, I said, is this looking very creased? Do I need to change it? She said, no, if you're okay with that. I said, I'm maha okay. I'm wearing too much on my face.
yeah,
But I don't like dressing up. I can't pretend.
yeah,
I don't have the energy in me to pretend.
yeah,
It takes a lot of effort
Yeah.
to, put on an act and pretend in a certain way, etc., etc. I can't do that. So it's like,
authenticity.
yeah,
Let's go
and
with
if
that.
I'm not saying that everybody has to like what they see, but I don't know any other way to be. So yeah,
Which is great. It works for you.
yeah, it works for me.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it works for me. Yesterday, in fact, I was with very close friends of mine, and she said something we were talking about. So she said, chef, how you play a role. I said, huh. So in certain difficult situations, even at home or something, you should just decide what is the role you're playing. I said, what do you mean? So she said, no, like today I'm going to be an understanding, very patient homemaker.
Yeah.
I'm not going to react. So I said, what? I sit there with a smile like this
Yeah.
on my face. What do you mean? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
But I can't, nothing out of my comfort. I can't do it.
that's good.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your learning. Like you play very many roles, not just on camera, but like you like to paint, you're an artist, you like to paint, you like to write, and you're very involved in everything that you do. So how have you evolved in this journey? And, like you did with your solo trip, you put your need first and you went and you had an amazing time. So what have you learned?
I have learned that I can't sit still.
Okay.
Okay. I need constant activity.
Yeah.
I have to have a mode of expressing creatively. It's a dire need. I'm not saying it's the greatest, but then again, that is also my boon and my bane.
Yeah.
There is only this much partying you can do.
Yeah.
So I need something else to keep me occupied all the time. I work, like I said, sporadically. So writing, painting, even if it's doing my dinner table up with flowers and candles and proper napkins and how to fold the napkin, etc., it becomes an expression of certain kind.
Yeah.
So I don't have to keep waiting for वो जब film होगी, show होगा, तभी मैं ये करूँगी. I realized a very interesting thing. I was talking to someone. I said, I realized why Instagram works. Because it's a mode of creativity. It's a mode of expressing your creativity.
Yeah.
So I saw a reel of somebody I knew. He said, we had gone to Kashmir. It was snowing and we were staying at this place. And my wife had said, there is this one thing I definitely want to do. So I said, Acha, what? He said, I'll show you the video. It was her in a chiffon sari
Wow.
in the snow, like a Yash Raj heroine.
Yeah.
Okay. I realized everything you can't do. Will I be able to write a book? I don't know. Will I ever be in films? I don't know. Will I dance around trees? I don't know. Will I be able to wear a chiffon sari and stand in the snow? I don't know. But this one gives you enough space to express all your creativity.
Yeah. And do
Cover
it.
all your dreams.
Yeah.
And there is somebody who's going to watch it. Like I follow a lot of these accounts who dress a table up for dinner.
Yeah.
Or they do how they dress up a place. I love it.
Yeah.
And they probably have 1 million followers, or they might not have any.
Yeah.
But I just feel it's such a involved, and it's like it's also immediate satisfaction.
Yeah.
That
somebody's liked what
somebody's
I'm doing.
liked what I did.
Yeah.
So I figured why Instagram works so much.
Yeah.
It's because it's just a place where you can put all your dreams out and realize them.
Yeah.
So when she, like, 100 years later, she'll tell her grandchild, I danced in the snow
So,
in a chiffon sari.
Yeah. So what are your dreams looking like now?
Oh, my dreams. I have a lot of things to do. I want to do a lot of things.
Like?
I was thinking about it. You grow up and then you have a bucket list, okay? And then you start ticking it off. Or as you grow up, life happens. And then that bucket list is emptied and thrown away. I really feel, when somebody asks me, what is the advice you want to give people? I normally say, I don't have any advice because I myself am learning. I'm not in anybody else's shoes, so I don't know. But I think this one thing, that keep that bucket list alive. Add to it. Because you don't know when you'll be lonely and then you'll need something to fall back on. I wish I had climbed the Mount Everest.
Yeah.
I can't do it. But I know of someone who went to the base camp. And I'm thinking, I should probably start training for that.
Wow.
Or I want to travel. I love traveling. Or I want to write a book. Not write one book. I want to write. I love it. I enjoy it. And I have understood from the reactions I get that people like listening to what I say.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like I want to do all of it. I want to win the Oscar. I want to have a holiday home where I grow vegetables. I cook. It's a art retreat under a big banyan tree and one long table where everyone comes and sits and eats.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that sounds
Listen
very
to music,
picturesque.
paint, read, just eat, cook.
Wow.
I think it's great.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. So earlier this year, I started playing the guitar. And
Oh,
I was like-
lovely.
I was like, oh my God, do I really want to do this? But now, and it was really hard at first because
yeah.
you have to really practice
Yeah,
and keep
yeah.
going. And now I'm like craving that time where I go back and I'm like learning new chords and it's starting to sound like a song. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing this.
Wow.
And, a lot of people say like you can't do, it's difficult at a certain point, especially when you have like a job or but like life happens. You have to make it happen.
Yeah. No, and you have to keep that something to keep you going. We love what we do.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people are privileged enough to do the job that they love.
Yeah.
They go to office 9 to 5, do work on a desk and come back home, or 9 to 9 or whatever that is. If they don't have something to look forward to, it would be it's so drab. And I'm not saying everybody has to. If people can live like that, great. I mean, it's amazing that they have the resilience for it. But I just feel for everyone, you need that bucket list.
Yeah.
You need to address it again and say, okay, maybe I should do this.
Yeah. So, writing a book was on my bucket list too, but I've never gotten down to it because just not had the time. So earlier this year, I went on a holiday to Manali. It was just 2-3 days, but I felt so inspired. I'm like, I'm not going to wait to write or showcase my expression in just a book format.
Yeah.
So I wrote, and I really wrote I took 3 hours to write a 500-word Instagram caption.
Wow.
And I felt so satisfied. And I was like, I want to do more of this. You know, I want to in my everyday, because it's never going to stop. You're never going to stop working. You're never going to stop being a particular role.
Absolutely.
But you have to make time for what makes you feel that
makes
sense
you feel alive, makes you suddenly feel like, whoa, there's that spark.
And I could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what I felt. This entire Jan was about that. And it's been very fun.
Yeah. I want to go back to dance. I want to learn salsa.
Wow.
So I'm going to, find somebody who teaches me that.
That's amazing.
And it's just it's so great. Like you said, book. I want to write a book. But do I want to write a book and that's the end of it? No.
Yeah.
And till I get an opportunity to write a column or an editorial or something like that, I have people reading what I write. They identify with it.
Why else did your post it went viral? It went viral. Because of that reason.
And the connection.
Yeah.
And it's immediate gratification.
Yeah, no, and it's telling you
when
something.
Those two girls, they booked our tickets. It was like a personal. I was like, yes, yes.
Yeah,
I felt so good about it.
Yeah, I know. And I'm telling you, I read it and I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I think that you should do more of it for sure.
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at the end, and my last question is usually about advice, but you've said that I don't know. So what should we end with? You tell me. What do we end with? You've spoken about so many different topics and roles and marriage and gender and Bollywood and
I don't know. You're leading it very well, so I would leave it to you.
Okay, so let's talk about specific advice for women who are wanting to. Okay, like you don't know their situation, but they're wanting to do something for themselves, no matter what situation they're in. What advice would you give them?
You know, during COVID, a lot of women started stuff at home.
So many. Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
People would have never thought, those women who were not given any importance in their house and said कि मतलब रोटी बनाने से मेरी कहाँ life बनने वाली है, and they made a complete career out of it. And they're blossoming, they're doing what they're good at, and suddenly doing that thing which seemed like a regular routine job has been appreciated. So it's made that more special for them. They've become entrepreneurs. So it's like, give it a shot. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा? Fail होगा ना. उससे ज़्यादा तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता. If you have the capacity, give it a shot. And everything, you know, like, of course, people feel that, oh, I have the means to be able to tomorrow, if I say I want to do this, I have the means. But I still reach out to people in terms of, you know, if there is something, let's say if I'm not writing, let's say I start weaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. I would tell my friend that if anybody else is interested, let me know.
Yeah.
Is it wrong? No.
No. Yeah. I think it's a
not
fear
wrong.
of failure, or like log kya kahenge, right? Like ye chalu kar diya and then it just shut. Like I think that's a psyche.
Yeah, but everything's not supposed to work.
Yeah.
It's not. I started a restaurant. Okay, we had 2 restaurants. We started it with my sister and brother-in-law, and it didn't work. I was more involved in when we did the interiors of it exactly. So I designed it, and I used to sit there raat ko till somebody's painting. Then there were some walls that I painted. I cooked for all the staff, like the carpenters and all of that. They were sick. So one of them was in Bangalore. So they were sick of idli sambar.
Yeah.
They were like, can't do this. So I said, वो अंदर जो छोटा वाला सिगड़ी है बाहर लाओ. And I made some masala pulao and some dal fry and चौंक वाला आलू for all the carpenters and painters and those सिलाई करने वाले बैठे थे. The thing failed. It failed. Would I not want to do another one? I don't know.
Yeah.
I may just choose to.
Why? Yeah.
You know, it's fine. It's not life and death.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. Yeah. There are certain things which are life and death. Everything is not.
Yeah.
So, try it. What will happen? Fail होगे ना. उससे ज़्यादा तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता.
Yeah.
Try it. You want to write? Write. People will say it's bullshit. Never mind. You read it.
Yeah.
5 years down the line, when you'll read it, you'll realize, oh my God, this is who I used to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Paint. Every painting does not have to be beautiful. I mean, honestly, if somebody had to sit and understand a Picasso, they'd be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
But the fact is that there are people who love his work.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everyone can be a Picasso, but it's fine. Yeah. And particularly in creativity. When I say creativity, I mean writing, painting, singing, dancing, cooking, interiors. There is no right and wrong. Yeah. It's all very subjective.
And it's perspective.
It's absolutely who likes it, who doesn't like it. It depends on various people. Yeah. So don't go by that mindset.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So yeah, I just feel...
That's good advice.
Yeah, जी और जीने दो types.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this.
You.
I've really enjoyed the conversation, and I mean, it's off my bucket list. I really wanted to
So
interview you.
sweet.
Yeah, I
Thank
really
you.
wanted to interview you
Thank
and
you.
see what you're like offline, and you're as amazing.
Thank you. So sweet.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much, Karishma.
Thank you for being the best community, and we'll see you in the next one.